In this YouTube video, I'm going to introduce you to part 3 and part 4 of Missing Manual. So part 3 is reports and part 4 is forms and access. So reports are useful for basically just printing out information and gathering it and grouping it. And forms are basically the same as reports, but you can build a way to navigate the Access database and input data and run macros on a form, and you could basically use that as your front end for the dashboard instead of the clunky data sheets and design view. So first I'm going to go over the reports, chapter 10, 11, and then I'll go over the forms, chapter 12, 13, 14. So let me open up, I opened up Bobblehead Access database, and here is the table, which is dolls. And let me see what I want to do. So I'm going to create a report. So go to create, and under reports, click report. So it'll generate a report that looks like this. Some of the report is off the screen. Where this dotted line is where the printing area is. So it's off the screen. But you can resize the report. This is just the auto-generated report. But at the top here, it puts the day. Today is November 6th, and the time that you generated the report. And then over here it has the title of the header, and it has the logo of the report, which I'll show you how to do manually later. So you can right click to delete a column. So you could right click a column and then just press delete, and it just makes it blank. But if you right click and select entire column and press delete, it'll actually shift all the other columns over. All the columns on this report from left to right are the same as the datasheet. So ID, character, description, it's all in the same order. Except, and then so now that I did an auto-generated report, I'm just going to close this out. I don't want to save it. And I'm going to go to create, and obviously I have the table open first. Now I'm going to go to blank report, and I'm going to click that. So now I have a blank report here, and then on the right hand side here it has the fields that you want to add to the report. I could close this out up here. It's under the design, so add existing fields, and then you click there and it says show all tables, and then if you press the plus sign you can see all the fields underneath each. I only have one table of dolls, and then it has all the fields under it. And you can just add in each of the fields just by double clicking them, and it just gets put onto the report. So you could change the column names. You just double click on it and then just change this to like 3, and then it doesn't change the column names on the data sheet. It just changes on the report just for presentation. And then I guess under here, under design, you could go to date and time and press OK. So it adds the date and the time at the top. And you could also select like page numbers, like page N, and then you can put where it is, top of the page, and I'll put it at the top right. So page 1. And I'll just label however many pages there are. And then I guess the title, you could title your report. Just name this like dolls. And then you can put a logo here. And just go to my desktop. and I'll just put that there. So put the logo. You can put logos on your reports, which appear at the top left. And you go to File and so how you include pictures in reports, you go to Design View for this, and it's called Attachment. And then in Datasheet View, it's over here. So you right click and then click Add, and then you could just select your image. It could be a GIF, a JPEG, a bitmap image. Basically just double click and then you can add the image. So over here, if you want to select an entire column, you just right click and click select the entire column. And then if you want to rearrange the columns, you could just drag them over. Normally if you just select this and drag it over, it just does it badly, but if you right click and you select the entire column, then you can move them around or delete them like that just by pressing delete on the keyboard. You could switch to landscape mode for print preview or portrait mode on the page setup. If you want to print it horizontally, and you go to external data, and you could select a PDF or XPS, and you could export it as a PDF file, which is used for Adobe, or you can also select a Word. Where's the print preview? I guess let me save it first. Oh yeah, you have to save it before you can do print preview. So now I'm in print preview mode. And then you go to, you have to like save it as a report first. So over here you could export it as a PDF, and then over here if you click more, you could export it as a Word document, a rich text file, RTF. So I'm going to do that. Close it out. Let me just save it on my desktop so I can open it. Desktop, report 1, okay, close. So I'm going to go to desktop and open up the thing I exported. So it exports to Word as a rich text format. I don't know why it didn't include images. It's pretty dumb. You go to, let me close out print preview, and you go to design and themes. So you could change the theme of this this report. Just by scrolling around. If you go to format, you can do alternate row colors. So you can change it to like gray, so it has a different, it looks different. You go to range, and you can add grid lines. So you just click here and click grid lines, and you can do both. So it has grid lines between all the rows. You can do conditional formatting. So you could just, I guess, select the entire column and go to format, and well, without the header. So you select all the rows besides the column header, and you go to conditional formatting and new rule. So field value is equal to Homer, and then I guess like a star for like anything. Press OK, apply. Oh wait, let me edit the rule. So double click, and I'll make the color red. Oh, that didn't work. Maybe just like no double quotes on both of them. No, it doesn't work. Maybe like it has to be capital. No, that doesn't work. Let me just write like Homer Simpson. Alright, that works. Yeah, so you could do like multiple rules. So you can do another one. You could do field is equal to or greater than, so you can highlight all the numbers based on a certain number. And then let me add another column. So I'll go to add existing fields and purchase price, so I can work with numbers. And I'm going to go to property sheet, and I'm going to select report, data, and for the record source I'm going to do dolls. And now that I did that under conditional formatting, when I added a rule, I could do compare to other records. This wasn't here before, but now it is. Now that I did that whole report, data, and then I selected dolls as the record source. That basically enabled data bars. So data bars, you click compare to other records, and then you press OK and apply OK. So that adds data bars to reports. You could filter. You could right click and then equals Homer Simpson. So it'll filter by anything that has Homer Simpson. You do text filters, contains Homer. You could right click and you could sort A to Z, and it shows the sorts down here. So here are the different controls which you can add in. So each report, they have different views. They have report view, print preview, exit print preview, layout view, and design view. And I mean, design views where you can basically just keep adding all the different buttons in the different places. And layout view is you can make changes to the report. And report view, it doesn't let you change anything. It's just how the report is. And then so if we go to group and sort under design, so let me switch to layout view so I could start changing stuff, because design's not there in report view. It doesn't let you edit stuff. So layout view, design, and group and sort. And then I'm going to add a group, and I'm going to add product category ID. So I'm on chapter 11, so I'm going to open up a different database now. We're done with this one. And in this one, I'm going to show you how to group. So I'm going to do, I guess, product categories, create report, add a group, maybe is it products? Yeah, so I'm going to do one on, I guess, products. I grouped them by product category ID, so I grouped by beverages, chocolates, candies, pastries, fruit, and vegetables, and it groups all the product category is basically the one in this relationship, and then the products are the many. So if I go to database tools, relationships, got products and product categories. So product categories is the one, and products is the many, because there are many products and then a single category. So the category could be beverage, and then the products could be Coke, Sprite, etc. So I added a group, and it grouped the one up here, and then the many is underneath each of them in this report. So reports are a good way to group and show the different groupings and have all the information in one spot. And then you can resize the columns just by clicking. And if you double click, it just makes it as big as it needs to be to fit all the data. Or you can just drag them all manually. I mean, once you have like the report template set up, whenever you change data, it'll update in the report. And you can like add like a sort by like price. And I'm gonna go to, I guess, chapter 12 now. So, which is like forms. And let me close this out. So in chapter 12, I'm going to do this database. And forms are useful to enter and edit data in a table instead of doing it in datasheet mode. And it also lets you control like tab level, like a tab index for tabbing between each of the columns to enter data. And you could also put macros and different buttons on the forms, which help you navigate the tables faster. And you could enter data into 3 tables at once from a form instead of entering it in each of the tables. So I'm going to select the products table and create and form. So this creates a form, and it has each product on each of the records here. So you got, this is the first form, second form, and it just has each of the Here are the products. It has each of these as each of their own forms. And each line is a different field or column from the products table. So basically, like ID is the first column, product category ID is the second column, etc. So the above are these are text boxes, and they're linked to the data sources in the table for the column. And they basically link to, they're linked to the table data source column. And you can basically see data is ID, and you could select whichever, and then this one is product category ID, and it actually has a row source with a select function, because this one is a Listbox. So if I go to form view, I can select the product category over here, but yeah, I'm going to stay in layout view. And yeah, this just has like product name. The reason this is a list box is because I'm going to open up product categories and products. So basically, and then I'm going to open up the relationship. So products are linked to product categories. So the ID is linked to the product category ID column. And there are many product categories, and then there's a single product category, and then there are many products a part of each category. So here's the ID for each of these, and they're linked to product category ID via the lookup from this ID. So when they match, then it just makes the product with the lookup. It basically, since it's a lookup, it makes it a list box. And instead of being the ID, it's actually the product category here. So it makes sense as like a category. And I showed you that in like my first video with like New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania example. So the checkboxes are yes, no columns. So I guess product is discontinued, yes, no. That's like if I go to design view, that's the Boolean, yes, no. So that just automatically makes that a checkbox on forms. Want to make a form for product categories table. So now I'm going to make a form. This is a form for products. I'm just going to not save. So products is the many, and product categories is the one. So we just made a form for the products. Now I'm going to make a form for the we made a form for the products already, so now I'm going to make a form for the product categories. So create and form. So this form differs from, let me make a products form again. Create form. So this is a products form, and this is the product categories form. So the reason it differs is because the products is the many in the relationship, and product categories is one. So for each of the product categories, which over here is like if you go through each of them down here, so each of the categories, it has the many down here under a subform, which I'll show you how to make later, and also I'll show you how to overwrite this with a list box, so you don't have to go down here to switch between each of the categories. So if you go to add existing fields, you can add fields to a form. So like category name, show all tables, and then it has like fields available and related tables. So all this stuff, scroll over and see it all. And if I click the last thing, I could add a new record right here from the form. And basically anything let's see, like right now I'm adding 2 product categories. The name will just be like, and the description will be like, oh, and the price will be like 1 or 11. And let me close this out. Yes. Yes. So now I open up the products and it has that there. So it's ID 45. And it doesn't have a product category ID. So it doesn't appear over here in product categories. So let me go to product categories 2 again. And product categories 1. Product categories 2. Product category, product categories 2. Let's create a new record and for the product name, product category ID. So let me add like a new one here, and it'll just be like candies, product name, and price 11. Actually, let me make it different. I'll make it U, and P 111. And I'll close out products. So products, it just added the this one, and this one it actually had a product category ID, and then so what was the category? Oh, candies. So candies has that record that I just added. So you can use forms as a way to enter data into tables. And click the above to skip to the last record. Right click to filter or sort. So you can add like filters to, I guess, forms. So I'm going to go to like product browser. Or customer browser. And I'm going to go to layout view. And under sort and filter, which is on the home tab on the ribbon, you go to advanced and filter by form. And I guess I'll filter by Glenn. And after I select whichever filters I want to do, it could be Glenn and whatever. and you could select filters on each of the fields here. Then I'm going to right click and I'm going to select apply filter sort. So this applies the filter to this form. You could also, so now this is the only record here. So now if I go to home and I click here, that actually removes the filter. And then I could just go through each of the records normally. But if you filter it, you could just filter by a certain thing. You could actually do a filter apply filter sort. So it just, I guess, remembers the filter you did. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to delete these filter queries. I'm going to go to filter by form, and I'm going to go to Glenn, and I'm going to select OR. So either of these conditions have to be true, so it's look for first name Glenn or last name McDonald. And I could do another or street, or Lisa. And I'm going to right click and then select apply filter sort. So it selects anything that matches those filters. And notice how I don't have any saved filters over here. I just had those saved filters from the last time I worked on this database. So in order to save a filter, you go to Advanced Filter by Form. And then, so I already selected the criteria. Let me clear all the filters. So I'm going to do Filter by Form. I'm going to do Glenn or last name Gold, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to do Save as Query, and this will just be filter Glenn Gold. Press OK. So now this query for the filter appears over here. So I'm going to close this out, and I'm just going to click here, and that'll filter by that filter. Or when I go up here and I click Advanced, and I'll do Advanced Filters, apply filter sort, or filter by form, then I could click over here. You can load a save query. Oops. Yeah, so let me do that over. So we'll go over here, and then you go to Advanced and apply filter sort, filter by form, load from query, and then you could load a filter query, press OK, and then right click and apply. So let me do that a little bit faster. I'm going to remove the filter, and I'm going to filter by form, right click down here, load. So I just loaded this filter query, and then I'm going to right click and I'm going to apply the filter. Now I'm going to remove the filter again, do it again. So advanced filter sort, no, so apply filter sort, clear all filters, filter by form. Alright, so what you do is you click advanced, filter by form, load from query, and then it loads the filter, and then you apply the filter, and that's how you can load a filter. that you saved. So the or, for like the or filters, basically either of these have to be true. It either has to be Glenn as the first name, or the last name is Gold, or this is true. But if you were just doing everything on this sheet, then it would have to be Glenn and Gold. That would be an end statement, so both of these have to be true in order to get filtered. So now I'm going to switch over to the dolls database. To show how to make columns and how to split columns. So I'm going to open up the dolls form and basically switch to layout view so I could edit stuff. I'm going to resize all this, and then I'm going to go to rows and columns on arrange, and then if I do insert left, then it inserts a column over here to the left. If I insert right, it inserts a column to the right. And then also I get Homer Simpson. I'm going to click split horizontally, so it splits it in half. And then if I hold control and do that, then I can merge. It's kind of pointless, but just moving columns around and stuff. So you go to property sheet, close this out, format. Property sheet, and you go to form, default view as continuous forms. I'm just going to do I'm going to switch back to the other database for that part. Because I guess the continuous form, it'll look a little bit better with like the customers, because there are more customers. So I'm going to create a form, and I'm going to go to property sheet, and default view, continuous forms. Oh, I have to switch this to form and default view. So this is a single form. It just has Patrick Persuasion. So I'm going to switch this to continuous forms. Okay. I'm going to save this form and then reopen it. So now that I selected continuous forms, it just has all the forms lined up, so you can print them all out. And I go to layout view, and I'm going to go select form, and you'll see it has continuous forms. So I'm going to click up here, and I'm going to select, let me go to layout view, select entire column. Now I'm going to select this entire column by holding control, and I'm going to make the, I think the height 0.2, press enter, so that makes it shorter, so it fits more stuff on the screen. And then I'm going to go to I'm going to go to customers and create and more forms and split form. So this one shows the datasheet and the forms at the same time. And then I'm going to click up here and notice how like the form properties, it still says split form over here. So if I switch this to continuous forms, save it and then reopen it, it just switches back to continuous forms. So if I go to layout view and click up here, form properties, and then switch to split form, save and reopen, then this is a split form. So the split form, it basically, you have the datasheet down here and then you have the form up there. So the form, you could actually go to design view and you could add macros to the form. So you could have macros doing stuff while you enter stuff on the datasheet. That's why the split form is useful. And you could also resize the split form. And the split form also has, let me go to layout view. So the split form also has there's like extra characteristics. So up here I'm going to go to form. So split form, allow edits, splitter bar position. It remembers where you saved this is the splitter bar, and you could have the datasheet on the bottom, or you could have the datasheet on the right. Click save. Put it in design view, and I'm going to switch it to datasheet on the right. It has to be in design view to save it as datasheet on the right. I'm going to save it and open it. So now datasheet's over here on the right. If you have a wider screen and tall screen, you can filter forms too. So go to here, under data, you can enter a filter. That's kind of pointless though, because I already did the filter queries that I showed you. If you go to create form in design view, choose create forms. So I'm gonna create a form in design view. So if we go to create and form design, it creates it, and it just has the detail for now. And then you can go to over here, add existing fields, and then you could right click and let me show tables. You don't have to right click, you just click show tables. How to add, right click, layout stacked. So I'm gonna add, I guess, customers, first name, last name, street, city, and state. So if I select everything and then right click, I could do layout and stacked, so everything stacks up on top of each other. And then I guess I could go to property sheet, format, and for height I'll just switch that to 0. And I'll just undo that. I don't like how that looks. So I just did stacked for the layout, and I'm going to go to over here and I'm going to select page header footer, so that adds a new section at the top. So if I go to form view, let me, I guess, add something there. So design and just be like text and out view. This is just like the header. But if you do like the form header, then you could actually see the stuff. So if I go over here to design view, let me add like a label. So that's how you could add like a label up there. Oh, and if I go to design view, I could click here and then go to arrange and control padding and none. So everything will be bunched together. Insert page on the form, change captions, change tab name at the top. So I'm going to open up a different chapter now. This navigation panel has stuff hidden, so I'm going to open up open up this and so this has different pages for the forms, which you can go under. Let me switch to design view, and the page looks like a folder. Layout view. There's something called insert page here, but I don't see it anymore. It looked like a folder with like a star on it. I took a picture of it. Oh, whatever. I guess I'm going to do a product categories form. Create and form. And notice how this doesn't have like a list box and you have to switch between the categories. No, it doesn't even let you switch between the categories. Because I just made a form on product categories, which is the one. And then if I go to products and I make a form, it'll just have each of the categories here and also all of the products. But if I go to product categories And if I wanted to switch this to a list box, I can go to, I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to create a list box. And I'm going to find record, and category name, and finish. I think actually like a combo box would be better. So combo box, find record, category name, finish, form view. And then let me try to recreate this subform. So over here to subform, and then I'm going to select use existing table. I'm going to select products, all the fields, and finish. And I'm going to form view. Yeah, so that's how that was done. I just included all of the columns. So that's how you create the subform, and you link it to a list box. And then the command button can create, let's see, go to design view and command button. So this one can create you can add a new record, it could open forms, it's a faster way to navigate without having to click on the navigation panel, and it only takes one click instead of two. And you can run a macro or an append query with it. And see, I'm just gonna finish, and then up here in format you can actually change how the button looks. But I'm gonna go to how to display a form when you open the database. So if you go to File, Options, and Current Database, and Display Form, you can actually select a form that gets displayed when you open up your database as the option. So now I'm going to work with what is this? How to display a form. Select name from. So now I'm going to make a list box, and for this one I'm going to click next, and I will type in the values I want and click finish. So it doesn't really have anything in it, but for the data, let me open up something I wrote. So I'm going to use a select query on it as the row source. And I'm going to switch this to table query. And I'm going to switch to form view. So what I just wrote there was the select query, and it selects all of the, what are these, customers, navigation, and it selects all the forms, and it puts all the names here. It doesn't actually navigate to the forms or open the forms, but when you go to the command buttons we just did, so design view and command buttons, I'm going to put something right here, and it's going to go to form operations, open form, next, and finish. And then I'm going to actually go to the event, and I'm going to open this up. So instead of it opening up form customers, I'm going to type, actually I forgot what the list box is called, so I'm going to close that. So the list box is called list34, so you open up this again, command button, and you go to equals list34 dot, and then brackets value. So I'm going to save this. Equals, close this, yes, form view. So I'm going to navigation form 1, and then when you click this button, it opens up navigation form 1. So you could start navigating with just the list box and open form. I'm going to make a list box for forms. I'm going to make a list box for tables. So over here is, this be like the tables one. I'll type in the stuff I want, finish, and for this one, go to data, and for row source, and paste that in here. You can take this from my video description, and it's going to do a table query. If you want to do it over here, you could select the ellipsis, and then right click and go to SQL View, and then here's the SQL for it. Basically it goes to access, it selects the objects, where the left of the name doesn't equal the Microsoft Office default hidden stuff, and it doesn't equal this other uses database, and then it orders by the name. And then also objects type equal 1 selects the tables, so that's how that is. And then so I'm going to go to form view, so now it has all of the tables. See how it has F_CE. So I go to design view, and then I could actually edit this, go to SQL view, and I could do it doesn't equal F_C, and I'll go to save, close, form view. So now that's not there, and here are all the table names down here. And so I'm going to go to design view, and up here I'm going to add a command button, and instead of form operations I'll go to miscellaneous and run macro, next, and finish. I don't have macro yet, so I'm going to go to create macro, and it's going to open table, and for the table name it's going to, let's see, this is list 37, so it's going to be equals list 37 dot value, and it's going to view, save, macro 1, and on click macro 1. So I'm going to open up customers, so now you can open up tables from the list box. And you could also do that for like reports and stuff. And I mean, yeah, that's basically it. So it's like how you could like add records. You can open up tables. You could run macros. And then the next video, it shows you how to run macros in the next section of the book. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching.